All right. So, thought I would check back in, seeing that I have not edited the first video I did of this auction, and it is closing as I talk. We looked at some of these top items that I had watched, and you could see this Roseville pottery. I think this was at, when I looked at it late last week when the auction just opened, it was at $10. Realized price was $650. So you can see why I wasn't even close to being a part of that. But these are super collectible, just given the size, the age, and this is in very good condition. Even though it's missing the pot on top, these have tended to get chipped, broken, cracked over time just because they are on the floor and everything else. So somebody picked that up for $650. I did watch this bronze bust here. Sorry, this is going to refresh every once in a while. I just watched it mostly to see what it would end at. I knew that there was no way I was going to be able to pick this up, just given the age. It's over 2 feet tall, extremely well done by a very well-known artist that is identified, and there's a signature and an inscription and all that. So I knew I wasn't going to pick that up, but you could see how much some of these things can fetch. So that sold for $900. I did look at this piece, and I just jumped on here. I totally forgot this was ending. That's why you're going to see a lot of things that have closed. I thought this was pretty cool, but again, this is coming from California, so this would have been a pain to ship, and it is damaged a bit, but that's still sold for $55. There's another piece of Roseville, another plant stand that's sold for $500. It's also missing the pot on top, but very good condition, very collectible. I did, here's another bronze sculpture, which I thought was really cool. But I also knew, it's all identified and everything else. So I knew I wasn't going to probably bid on this either. That sold for $900. And, I just watched a couple other things. This auction did have a bunch of old, either antique or vintage, Eastern Asian carved sculptures and stuff, which sell pretty well, especially if they're older and not damaged. This piece is really detailed and well done. And here's an antique duck decoy. These can be hit or miss, but anytime they're older, they might be able to fetch you a good amount of money, especially if they're signed. This one, I didn't see any signatures or anything, but these are super collectible. I think that's a pretty good deal for $10 for that. And then going down here, I watched these baseballs, and looks like for the most part, people somewhat treated them like they might, like the certificate of authenticity, like this one didn't have one. So basically these people are, either they know what Joe DiMaggio's signature looks like, or they're taking a shot that this will actually, come out as an official signature. I'm just not really willing to do that. This one did have a COA. We talked about this earlier, but I'm not going to trust these global, certificate of authenticity. It's just, they're not a reputable company, so you'd have to get this re-authenticated to actually sell it with confidence. And that goes for any of these other signed items. Here's this sculpture that I talked about before, and if I would have remembered, I probably would have bid a little bit on this piece just because I really like it. I like the brutalist nature, and I have sold a decent amount of brutalist sculptures and metal pieces like this. It is signed, and I did a quick search. I didn't do too much research because I thought I was going to do that last week. I thought I was going to do it tonight, and I forgot. So I didn't figure out who the artist was on this piece. But it is definitely vintage and pretty cool. I would probably, even without knowing who the artist is, I'd probably price that in the $200 to $300 range on Etsy, and it sold for $45, which is only slightly over what my max bid was. And that tells me that there's probably one or two people that threw some bids in at the end and, just overbid me. Then there are some other pieces. This was one piece that I actually bid 50 on, and I don't know. I probably would have tried to bid up to 150 on this because these pieces were actually selling over $500, and it's not entirely too big. It's only 22 by 22. All the information's on there and stuff. And Marilyn Monroe obviously is a iconic image, and I think this would sell pretty easily. That's okay. I did bid 50 and was outbid by 100. So going down, just some more. Here's a landscape painting. I wouldn't have bid on this. It's too big of a painting. Not it got up to $125. Now this duck decoy, I probably would have put a bid on just because it is signed, and it's in a lot nicer condition than the other one we looked at, and that could potentially make a decent amount of money, and especially for only $35, and shipping wouldn't be that bad. So that would have been something I might have tried to bid like as high as $50 on. Now I did win this, which is really cool, because I came back and I didn't even bid on it. I just won it for $15, and all the information. Now this was not identified. I did identify this, I think, earlier. I can't remember. I'll have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure that I did identify this piece, and the other paintings that he did were selling for quite a bit of money, and it's not too large where it's going to cost me an arm and a leg to ship. So that was a really good win. Cool, colorful, contemporary painting. So I look forward to getting that. This piece I was just outbid, and I would have probably bid higher on this piece too, seeing that I already won a piece. So that way I can split the shipping cost between the other piece I won and this, so it's not all set on one item, because they'll package it in the same box. And this being dated 1903, being an antique, and has all that information on the back, I probably would have definitely bid this up. And I'm pretty sure the last name on this piece was Carnes, and I want to say that I did. I think it was like R.D. Carnes. I found some similar paintings, and his work was selling for a good amount of money. So that's kind of a bummer that I was just outbid with that. Here I bid on this just because I do sort of, I don't really scout out old newspapers from like iconic moments, but I do have a handful of old newspapers from, one from like when JFK was shot, one from D-Day, one from when the bombing happened at Pearl Harbor. I do have some older newspapers like that. I just like having those, and this did get a little bit too high. I think sometimes you can find these on eBay for a lot cheaper than $45. So maybe I'll check out eBay with that. But there were 3 of them. I don't really need 3, so that's probably why the price went up that high. I thought this was a pretty cool piece too, but I had a feeling that because this old antique like military memorabilia and antique military instruments and patches and everything else tend to get a premium, especially at auction. So probably get one cheaper elsewhere. And again, these ones too, so these are old Alcatraz keys, and I just thought this was really cool. Just a piece that I probably wouldn't even resell. I'm not gonna, again, spend that much. So, and here you can see some stuff is closing now, and the reason why you'll see this is just starting to close and these have already been closed is because when people bid, when there's less than 5 minutes and somebody bids higher and takes over the bid, then this jumps back up to 5 minutes. So it restarts. So that'll keep happening until someone's done. And you can see if I wanted to bid on any of these, you just click the little clock here, and it takes you to the actual auction page itself. So here's where, and you'll keep hearing that little ding. That happens every time something's bid, like outbid or whatever. You can see all the lot. They show you all the lots that are closing, and then these are all the upcoming lots that will be closing shortly. So I don't think I'm going to bid on anything else. Just wanted to give you a quick update on some of those items. You can see how much the price jumped, especially like that Roseville went from $10 to $650. And honestly, a lot of times, like, I've been watching things that have been very low that shot up in the last like 20 minutes, from $25 to over $1,000. So most of the time with auctions like this, especially online auctions, all the crazy bidding and everything else is going to happen, in the last half hour or so, and especially in the last 5 minutes. So hope you guys enjoyed the little walkthrough, and I'll do these again, especially when I'm looking through things, just to kind of walk through and show what I'm looking for, and if I see anything worthwhile, and what caught my eye, or how I research different signatures or find that value. So I'll keep doing that if everybody enjoys it. Thanks again for watching. Can't wait to I'll show you guys when I get the painting in. But otherwise, good luck out there treasure hunting, and I'll see you in the next one.